Welcome, welcome, my beautiful people. This is your host, Stefan, your Grenadian ambassador. Thank you for joining us live. This is my dear friend Ruben with me. All right, and we are here to discuss a very important topic, very important development that I am hearing, I am receiving, and I am here to make clarifications or confirm based on the information that I'm hearing. So, just before we get into today's business, I would like for you, those of you who are here, the 39 of you, to share the live. That's something I want you to do. All right, share the live and let others know that we are on. All right, so we are hearing that AlBA could disappear right in front of our very eyes. And this is very significant. I'm learning, as I was told, that Grenada, countries like Grenada, Saint Vincent, Dominica, Saint Kitts and Nevis, yeah, Antigua and Barbuda. Also we have Saint Kitts, we have Saint Lucia, I think Saint Lucia, and including Grenada and other countries. I'm hearing Dominica, right? I'm hearing that they are being expelled from AlBA. But before we go into details, um, I want you, my dear friend, to walk us through AlBA. You know, for those of us who may not understand who or what is AlBA, can you walk us through the history of AlBA and its purpose? All right. Now, I said expel because I saw the expression on your face. Am I incorrect by saying that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So
AlBA is fine. I am just warning that we must keep it because there are signs that the United States wants to dismantle it. But so far it's
okay,
working. The only expel country was Bolivia
okay.
because former President Arce. Do you think you can show a picture of the AlBA communique that is on X platform? They wrote a communique today
Yeah, but
about their concern
no,
on former President Arce being jailed.
no, I will not be able to do so at this moment. I
Okay.
will not be able to do it. But first of all, I just want to stick a pin there. All right, so that is why we are here. We're here to clarify some stuff because not everything that you hear is accurate, but we are here. So as you are saying that America is looking to dismantle AlBA. Now, I want you to walk us through AlBA. Give us a history of AlBA because there are viewers with us right now that may not know AlBA or for the first time they have been hearing about AlBA. What is AlBA and its purpose? Walk us through that.
Okay. AlBA used to consist of 10 countries. Now it's 9 because Bolivia is no longer there.
Mhm.
Bolivia was recently expelled as Arce gave power to new president Rodrigo Paz. And Rodrigo Paz spoke that he was not interested in communism, and and most countries are not communist. They are just trying to foster some Caribbean sovereign trade. And
Okay.
also, Colombia is not a member of AlBA either. The
Okay.
Spanish speaking countries of AlBA are Nicaragua, Cuba, and Venezuela, and formerly Bolivia. And
And
the English speaking countries
mhm.
are Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda, and St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh,
AlBA has so far functioned very well. It has economically been important in the Petrocaribe oil shipments from Venezuela to various Caribbean countries. And somehow it diplomatically was able to secure shipments of natural gas to Bronx, New York, and Louisiana, and parts of the United States during the winter that were served by Citgo, which was recently hijacked by the United States, and now uh, they are trying to sell it for new owners. There is a history of Venezuelan infrastructure that is being stolen.
Mhm.
The gold in the United Kingdom, Citgo, now the ship that was actually it was near Grenada. The ship that was seized 2 days ago that was bound to Cuba and Iran. It seems that very close to Grenada, it was hijacked by United States Coast Guard. Now, well, people say it's piracy. And also, I am concerned because St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
Mhm.
well, it used to be led by Ralph Gonsalves, who had so many years in power that understandably people in that country wanted a change.
And I glad you mentioned. I glad you mentioned that. I mean, there's a lot of things to discuss here. Now, with this happening, with this attempt to sabotage AlBA by America. First of all, you talk a lot about the Americans are well. We see, all right. This week, America seized one of Venezuela's oil tankers, and now they are looking to, sabotage AlBA, maybe take full control. We're not too quite sure what is their agenda. How important it is, how important it is, AlBA to the Caribbean. How important AlBA is to the Caribbean region when it comes to its economy.
Well, to the economy, it has provided a diplomatic framework for all the petroleum cooperation.
Mhm.
Here domestically in Venezuela, opposition hates ALBA because the opposition forces that support regime change agenda and support, because there are Venezuelans who support United States invasion.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know what is the percentage. The government says that 90% of Venezuelans are in favor of sovereignty and only 10% of invasion. I think the percentage of people who want invasion is higher, but it doesn't get to half of the population.
Mhm.
The problem with polling is that polls are usually aligned with government or with the opposition, and the results they provide are skewed, and there is no middle of the ground poll that you can trust more.
Oh,
Eh,
okay. And uh, one of the one I just want to hear your opinion. Do you think that, I mean, Ralph Gonsalves, was a very important role when it comes to, he played a very important role in the organization of AlBA. Am I correct?
yes.
Okay. Do you think at this time now, where he's no longer the prime minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines, do you think that has a lot to do with the Americans being involved with St. Vincent elections? In your personal opinion?
Well, United States is involved in every single election. Look at this chaos they have in Honduras. He supported a candidate that is actually winning the election according to the Electoral National Council.
Mhm.
As far as I know, Honduras military is going to support final results, which haven't been given yet after 2 weeks. And it seems that the current government does not want to concede, but they are claiming that United States asking people to vote for a United States friendly candidate played a role. Same thing happened in Argentina earlier with a $20 billion loan that was subject to uh, National Assembly elections being won by President Javier Milei's party, which he succeeded. So, and let's see what will happen in Chile tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I am relieved that to know that Grenada and the OECS nations are still playing. They are still members of AlBA, and as you said, so to be clear, those of you viewers who are just joining in, all right, Bolivia is the only Latin nation that have been expelled by AlBA. Now, what? Not by AlBA, but have been expelled.
Yeah,
Why?
it was expelled by AlBA.
Well, by AlBA, right? Why did Bolivia got expelled? Why? What
Okay,
was the reason?
okay, let me. I think what I should do is Bolivia expelled AlBA. They have a communique. Uh, in English. Let's see. Let's see if I find it. Aha. Bolivia suspended by AlBA bloc. Uh, Bolivia has been suspended on 27 October 2025 as a member state of the regional bloc Alianza Bolivariana para los Pueblos de Nuestra América, AlBA, uh, because incoming Rodrigo Paz administration said disregarded the principles of respect, sovereignty, and cooperation that sustain the integration of the peoples of the Americas and fundamental values of the alliance. That was basically that's a summary of a formal communique they wrote on 27th of October.
Okay. All right. So let's go back again to the beginning of AlBA. Now, AlBA was founded by Hugo Chavez, correct?
Hugo Chavez. I don't know if it was Castro or Raúl Castro or Fidel Castro, and Ralph Gonsalves.
Okay.
Ralph Gonsalves is at the same level of the other ones.
All right. And
because Ralph Gonsalves was like the English speaking main voice.
Right.
And also Grenada, I think the heritage of Maurice Bishop also played a role.
Okay, right. And it was launched. When was AlBA launched? Right, in 2004, I believe it was launched.
Yeah,
All right.
about that time, yes.
Okay, and the agreement at that time it was only Venezuela and Cuba. That was the only two member states when it comes to AlBA, and the agreement was Venezuela will ship barrels of oils to Cuba in exchange for doctors and nurses.
Yes, but it soon became an all Caribbean alliance.
Right, and then over
Venezuelan opposition always complains that AlBA was a political buying votes on United Nations and on Organization of American States of small Caribbean islands to ensure that in that time there was also the Argentine president Kirchner. The problem is that in many of those governments there was a lot of corruption, and many things didn't work out. But the reason was some sort of economic cooperation between the Caribbean and Venezuela, and also Nicaragua and Cuba. But Cuba it may be considered as the other Caribbean islands.
Okay.
And also at that time, prices of petroleum were in excess of $100 per barrel because it was the time of huge development in China. And it was only in 2014 that prices of petroleum went down, and it became more difficult to Venezuela to give that petroleum at preferential prices.
Wow.
There was an economic boom that led to the foundation of AlBA, but now we are in the tough times.
Yeah, interesting. Indeed, in tough times, when you start to seize oil tankers and stuff, it will have an effect. Now, who controls AlBA as it stands now? Who controls AlBA?
I am not sure. I have the same question, because if you read their communiques, I see they have welcomed. I noticed that they welcomed. What's the name of the prime minister of Saint Lucia, the one who was recently re-elected?
you put me you put me in a spot,
Yeah.
guys. Those
No,
are,
that's the thing.
if
We
we have
like,
solutions, if we have solutions in the comment section, please. What is the name of the Prime Minister of Saint Lucia? I
yeah.
haven't done my homework on this one.
No, 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 no. We really need to learn more about our neighbors. It seems that
Yep,
we
yep.
know everything of the United States and Europe, and we don't
I know,
know about our
I
own
know, I know,
Caribbean.
I know exactly how he looks like in my mind, but I just totally forgot his name. So solutions, if you are watching or anybody has knowledge about, or just Google for me, or you could just Google it, or the Prime Minister of Saint Lucia. All right. Now, while we wait on this, there are some concerns, my dear friend, that if this pattern continues in our waters, the oil seizure, the oil theft, because I don't see it as a seizure, I see it as broad daylight theft.
Piracy.
That is piracy, to its highest level. Um, if this continues, how how will this affect the Caribbean economy? Will this have a negative effect on the Caribbean economy, where we start to see inflation, we start to see prices at the pumps go up, prices in the supermarkets go up, our current bill, our light bill? How this will affect if us here in the Caribbean region when it comes to all the activities that is going on outside there?
Well, the United States is going to try to tell Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines to purchase United States oil and gas instead of Venezuelan oil and gas. And that's exactly what's happening in Europe and India, that United States always tells them not to buy Iranian and Russian petroleum. I think for this matter, you can consider Russia, Iran, and Venezuela as exactly the same thing. They are all sanctioned, they are all important OPEC plus members,
Mm.
and their tankers are constantly hijacked, and Iran already retaliated by seizing an American gasoline ship near the Gulf of Oman. And Vladimir Putin called Maduro. These are scary times. And China also issued a statement that this is not tolerable. The thing is that okay, they always issue statements, but really nothing happens. And Venezuela is not supposed to attack militarily to the United States because Venezuela does not want to strike first. So that means that yesterday and many days ago, we constantly have overflies of American aircraft near our airspace, but we're not doing anything. We're just recording the intrusions, but we're not supposed to fire to them because we don't want to start a war.
Yeah.
But then United States says that most petroleum fleet of the planet will be seized because it seems that over the thousands of cargo ships, most of them are sanctioned anyway. There are not too many ships that are not sanctioned.
So with that being said, should the Caribbean be worried about an economic collapse?
I don't think so, because then the United States will try to come to the rescue, and the United States will just try to impose, they will do the same thing they are doing to Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
I mean, they already tried to do that in Antigua and Barbuda, but the leader of Antigua and Barbuda stood firm.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand the leader of St. Kitts and Nevis and Philip St. Pierre of St. Lucia have also been vocal in trying to save AlBA. Same with the Prime Minister of Dominica. He every once in a while he comes to Caracas.
Okay.
And I mean,
Well,
Venezuela,
I,
what can
I just
Venezuela do?
right, and I just want to get a better understanding for myself and the viewers that are viewing, because we are told that the Caribbean heavily depends on Venezuela when it comes to oil and gas, right? Um, how help me to understand what percentage of dependency does the Caribbean region have with Venezuela? Well, no, depends on Venezuela when it comes to oil and gas. Or let's say Venezuela. I'm just saying it's not possible, but let's say uh, America takes full control, right? What will happen? What will happen? Full control of Venezuela's oil and gas. What will happen?
Well, United States just wants to block Venezuelan exports everywhere, just as they are trying to do with
Mm.
Russia and Iran. United States wants to sell their own oil and gas. Look at what happens to Europe.
Yeah,
Europe could be better served if they could import Russian gas, but then they have this Russophobia and they are now obliged to buy American weapons, American gas, and Europe is bankrupt. And it seems that Caribbean countries should also try to sell stuff to Venezuela. Like, Venezuelans don't know English for the most part. I know English because I studied in the United States. I had a scholarship in my youth that made me live there for a few years. But
yeah,
then I returned, but most people don't speak good English because the English classes at elementary and high school are not of good quality. So why don't Grenada offer, English classes, tourism for Venezuelans and Colombians and Mexicans and whoever? You know why? I know Barbados has done that. I have a friend who learned English in Barbados.
okay,
Uh, I don't know what other. I mean, industries. The thing for tourism is that Venezuelans are blockaded. uh, United States is actively trying to separate Venezuela from the Caribbean, and I don't know if
I,
that was an initial part of CARICOM.
no, you made a very interesting point because we are seeing a campaign now. There's a campaign where the United States, and you're correct. I agree with you. Is trying to separate, and cause division. And the question is why they are doing this, and you mentioned scary times. These are scary times. What do you mean by that? These are scary.
Well, you just have to hear Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Kamla Persad. She offers ample explanations of the United States vision.
Yeah.
You really just watch. She has been very vocal, and that's her. Guyana. The problem is that, I mean, it is so unfortunate we have like this Essequibo problem with Guyana, because Guyana and Venezuela could be such good friends if we hadn't this Essequibo problem.
Mhm.
But the Essequibo problem is there, and Essequibo was stolen from Venezuela by the United Kingdom, not by Guyana. That problem is very old. It was part, even Trinidad and Tobago. There was an issue a few days ago of Diosdado Cabello, the Interior Minister, who said that Trinidad was part of Venezuela, which is true. Trinidad was a province of Venezuela. The Spanish crown in 1777 declared six provinces: Caracas, Trinidad, Guayana, and most of Guayana is now Essequibo. Only a small part remains in Venezuela. Cumaná, Maracaibo, and I don't remember, but they were six:
Oh.
Caracas, Maracaibo, Trinidad, Guayana, Margarita, and Cumaná. Yes, those are the six ones.
Mhm. Wow.
And well, and not Tobago. If you look at names of towns in Tobago, they are English names. If you look names in Trinidad, San Fernando, Chaguanas, Chaguaramas, Caroni, you have Venezuelan towns with exactly the same names. Ports of Spain, Puerto de España. I mean, how more Spanish can you? But yes, England took Trinidad in 1797. Then England took the Essequibo out of Venezuela during the 1800s until the Paris Arbitral Award in 1899. And now the United States is taking the tanker. And yes, and well, and I understand that the Essequibo now has English speaking population. It is in the International Court of Justice. Nobody likes the International Court of Justice anymore. I don't know. It's a little bit the same thing with Mexico, Arizona, California, Colorado, New Mexico, parts of Oregon, Nevada. All of that was Mexican, and then they had to sign a treaty for Falklands were Malvinas from Argentina. Belize was part of Guatemala. England has Gibraltar on south of Spain. Spanish speaking countries have like this resentment that the English speaking countries have done so much for us. And so, and of course, I understand when I speak to people of the Caribbean that, they see that we are the aggressors. And I don't know, like the Essequibo dispute right now, I don't think it is a main topic. Venezuela, what always asks is a little bit more of dialogue,
Yeah.
but the government of Irfan Ali, especially Robert Persod, they are no dialogue with Venezuela. They are thieves. They are dictators. They are bad on human rights. And of course, there is this problem of the diaspora who is in Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana who don't like the Venezuelan government. And so that complicates matters
Yeah, I mean,
completely.
the Esquibo dispute is very complicated, and I really, to be quite honest with you, I would love to see in the future some kind of peaceful resolution take place between Venezuela and Guyana when it comes to the Essequibo region, because it's never a good thing neighbors living close to each other and not on good terms. So I really wish that there is peaceful resolution can take place. I don't say nothing. I sometimes I don't say much about the Essequibo region and what is going on because it's very, 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 very complicated. But with that being said, now I know coming back to the oil tanker seizures, can we see a retaliation coming from Venezuela when it comes to the seizure of oil tankers? Or it will
Well, who knows?
yeah.
Putin and Maduro spoke over the phone less than just a few hours after the incident. Who knows what they spoke about? There are people who say that nuclear weapons are being deployed into Venezuela or Oreshnik missiles or I don't know, like the Cuban Missile Crisis. For the time being, it is obvious that Venezuela will need to accompany oil shipments with some sort of military protection because as of now, during the last 48 hours, no other ships are wanting to enter or exit Venezuela because, of course, they don't want their ships to be seized by the United States
Mm.
as piracy. It's just unsafe. And that is exactly what the United States wants. The United States does not want Venezuela to receive income from oil, and they are aided by Venezuelan opposition who says that Maduro has stolen the presidency and that Maduro has also stolen the oil. So it's morally responsible for the United States to save Venezuelans by choking us. But the Venezuelan population experience a lot of hardship through sanctions and through investment that is not being made. We are only producing 1 million barrels per day when Venezuela should be producing as much oil as Saudi Arabia because we have more reserves than they do. And it would be wonderful if Venezuela and Guyana could merge our oil industries. The thing is that for a Venezuelan to speak to a Guyanese, it's so hard because there is this Essequibo thing
Well,
on.
yes. We did get information about the prime minister is Philip J. Pierre. That's his name. Yes, for the prime minister of Saint Lucia is Philip J.
Well, AlBA congratulated Philippe Jean-Pierre for his election, but AlBA did not congratulate Goodwin Friday from St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Some
and
people,
so that
some people.
makes me think AlBA should congratulate all of them, not only the ones that are ideologically aligned. Maybe AlBA should transcend the ideological part and try to open it up to leaders of countries
Mhm.
that promote capitalism.
Yep.
Uh, because if AlBA becomes entrenched in a far left ideology, it will die.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, for
That is
example,
true.
in my case, I am pretty much pro market and I have mostly supported the United States and Venezuelan opposition. But nowadays, I am siding more with the government because I think it's my national duty not to have my country invaded. And so
You
I
made
am
a very,
realizing that there
you
are
made
geopolitical
you
things.
made a very important point because people think that siding to fight for your country is to I mean, they are Venezuelans, and I think it is important for us to know that there are Venezuelans who are standing up to fight for the sovereignty of the country, but they are not in support of the present government that is there, Maduro. But when it comes to sovereignty, we have to put aside who, politics. We have to put aside who we like and who we don't like. It's about country, and I think when someone threatens to take over your country, you got to stand up and fight for your country because you are not fighting for yourself, but you're fighting for the future of your children and your children's children. Let's talk about Trinidad a little bit, because
Okay.
I want to hear different perspectives. We hear a lot of perspective and a lot of sides, but rarely you hear perspective coming from that side, your side. Now, I mean, you have seen that Trinidad have recently installed. The government there have recently allowed the United States to install a radar system in Tobago. All
In
right,
Tobago.
and the whole concern is this will make Trinidad and Tobago a target of war, and the government is disputing the radar is not to fight in any is not to be used against Venezuela, but it is to be used to detect drug traffickers. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I mean, because they need to.
All right, so guys, we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, which is expected. A lot of funny stuff is going on. But all right, let me read some of the comments. I want to welcome all of the viewers and listeners. Let me see if I could get back my dear friend Ruben. All right. All right, let me see if I could. All right, so I guess. All right, so he's having some technical difficulties. Let me see if I could get him back. So, guys, just give me 1 minute. All right, I'll be back. Just give me a minute. Let me see if I could get back Ruben. All right. Please share the live and let others know we are discussing something very, very important this afternoon. All right, let others know that we are on. All right. So just give me a minute. All right. All right, just give me a minute, guys.
internet was wrong. I don't hear you.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Are you hearing me now?
When Venezuelan internet is a disgrace, seriously.
Yeah, yeah,
And these interferences, the electronic war that is having the airwaves. But anyway, let's continue.
yeah.
We were speaking about
Yeah, I
Trinidad
was.
and
We
Tobago.
we were speaking about the radar system in Tobago, and I was asking for what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I would like to know, has drug consumption in the United States decreased during the last few months?
Hmm, good question.
No.
No.
So, it's not working. And I mean, seriously, it's definitely about the oil. I mean, with this tanker seizure, it's obvious. You know, look what happens. The OFAC has sanctioned most of the planet's world tankers fleet. Venezuela, Iran, Libya, and Russia, which are main producers, are full with sanctions. And so non sanctioned oil, and probably this benefits Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. But the rest of OPEC is screwed
Hmm,
because of this.
yeah.
And maybe United States with these sanctions are also trying to dismantle OPEC, not only AlBA.
AlBA.
United States will always try to divide everyone.
Yeah,
United States is trying to divide China from Russia. While China and Russia were allies in World War II,
yeah,
and they were the ones who expelled the Japanese and the Germans, and United States and United Kingdom had just a minor relevance in the victory of World War II.
yeah.
So,
The
that's
big
obvious.
question with all the rising tension that is taking place, people, those of us in this part of the world, the Caribbean region and Latin America, the question is, do you think a war will happen, or should we prepare for anything?
I don't know. We're preparing every day.
Hmm.
But, the longer they take to launch an attack, the faster the response will be, because it seems that Venezuela has all. Do you remember that there was one time that it was said that Nicolas Maduro urgently asked for help from Russia? And that's actually not even the case. It seems that we already have all the military deterrence equipment we need, and
Yeah,
it's actually Putin the one who called Maduro. And it was Trump the one who called Maduro. It seems that actually it is Maduro who calls the shots. Maduro is the one who is kind of uh, checking the waters on how to deal with Putin and Trump simultaneously, as both of them want to be the main investor in the Venezuelan petroleum industry. And for now, Russia is winning. And for me, it's fine because, you know, uh, United States has not treated us well. Uh, China is treating us
well,
very well.
we have been hearing the narrative that what Trump is saying is that Venezuela have been sending poison to America. I mean, is it true that drugs are being sent to America from Venezuela?
According to the United Nations, no, not much.
Hmm.
First, because it seems that most of the drugs come from the Caribbean, so you should look at Panama, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, and El Salvador and Mexico. And the Caribbean has a minor uh, part, and the Colombian Caribbean, such as Guajira Peninsula, has a bigger role than all of Venezuela. And whatever part comes from Venezuela, it is diverted to Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago just because they are stepping stones to Europe.
Hmm.
So yes, of course there is some Venezuelan participation, but it's not significant.
Yeah.
And actually, if you go to the Telegram channel of the Venezuelan military, every day they show you seizures and destruction of distribution facilities.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
from Colombia always stresses out that point as well.
Now, to my viewers, if you wanna, you wanna say something, you could click the link. I have pinned it in the comment section. You could always join us on screen. Now, if you're not comfortable with your video on, you could always mute your video and have an audible conversation. All right. So don't feel free. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You can ask my dear brother questions if you have questions for him. He's live. He's coming. He's live from Caracas. All right. He's live from Caracas. Now, someone is asking, is it true? I mean, I don't want to put you in the spotlight, but is it true Trinidad was part of Venezuela?
Yes, until okay. Let's see. I really wish. Is there a way you can place a map, or if I send you a picture by WhatsApp, can you reproduce it?
Yes. Send it to me, and then I'll try and see if I could.
Okay, then
Yeah.
let me go to my Twitter. I have it right there. And hang
Uh,
on.
you should have my email. You can email it to me. All right.
Oh, by email or by WhatsApp? By WhatsApp, I can give it to you
No.
immediately.
Email it to me.
Email.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on then. Uh, oh, your address. Now I forgot your
All
address,
right.
and
Don't worry. Okay. So what I can do, I will try to send it through my email. I should get through with it here.
okay,
Yeah.
because it's already in your WhatsApp.
Yeah. I
Okay,
should get.
because the things I don't want to offend anyone's sensibilities. I
Yeah. I
mean,
know
yes, Trinidad was part of Venezuela in
it's a tough conversation.
1777, and England took it
Uh
in
huh.
1797 when we
Okay.
were still a colony. Trinidad was already part of England when Simon Bolivar started independence. Tobago was never part of Venezuela. I understand Tobago was more related to Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And
Oh,
then colonially, I don't know when Tobago was annexed to Trinidad, but that was much later.
interesting. Very interesting. Very very interesting. All right. So we now Trump did mention that maybe in the last 2 weeks he said that it will be easy for them to strike by land. How true is that?
I don't know. I just saw a clip from Donald Trump saying that he will strike by land and it will not necessarily be Venezuela. So who knows? I mean, he changes
That's
his
true.
mind so much.
Yeah. So I
And,
just
and, and Colombians and Mexicans are also freaking out too because this is like a Russian roulette.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we gotta be. I personally believe that the Caribbean and the entire Latin America have to be prepared for anything. A war could happen. It may not happen. But more than likely, I think it will. I don't want to preach doom and gloom, but I think I always give my opinion when I'm doing my podcast. I think we should prepare for an impending war because history tells us when Americans bring all this firepower to a particular region, you know, it's not for waste, because this is billions of dollars of taxpayers' money that is going to, that is spending every day to keep these military equipments here in the Caribbean. So it's very expensive. And will they spend all this money for nothing? So I do think that we should be on our guard and do not let our guard down. And well, especially Venezuela, and I know you guys are always prepared, always prepared, and Maduro have said he is ready. He's ready for anything. And I think we don't want a war because this can have a devastating effect on the economy of the Caribbean. I mean, I asked you earlier with AlBA and all of these organizations, if it was to be sabotaged and to go out of existence, what effects it will have on the Caribbean economy. And I think it will have an effect on us when it comes to, because Venezuela is a strategic partner of the Caribbean. Venezuela we do trade with Venezuela. I mean, we have the petroleum and all of these things. Our energy sector heavily depend on certain things that come from Venezuela. So We have to be very prepared for anything.
Well, and by the same
Yes,
token, the Caribbean is very important for Venezuela too. Like, I would
yes.
like to convey Caribbean countries that, I mean, yes, there are parts of the Venezuelan opposition who hate the Caribbean. They say the Caribbean, all they want is to get Venezuelan petroleum for free, and that their leadership are the ones who have always prevented Venezuelan freedom through diplomacy. But I mean, the people who believe in unity in Latin America of the Caribbean, we are thankful of the Caribbean, especially AlBA. When I see so much distressing news and I hear that the Prime Minister of Saint Lucia or of Dominica or of Antigua and Barbuda, I haven't heard much from the one of Grenada. And you earlier told me that there are many things happening behind
Yeah,
the scenes,
in
but
Grenada
I
here,
am
we we
grateful to Caribbean countries because we need that psychological support.
we do need a psychological support, but we are seeing an attempt to dismantle that support, and that is why I think we are at a pivotal moment right now, and we should be united. We should be united, which is not really happening. It's not really happening because there are leaders that are being intimidated. Leaders are being intimidated, and there are leaders that support what Americans are the American government are doing when it comes to foreign policy. Um, there was something I wanted to make.
I
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
okay,
Go ahead.
sorry. No, the thing is that Adrian Bristol is asking a very interesting question, and I would like to reply to it.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Russia installed radar in Venezuela, so what if the United States installed in Trinidad?
Yeah.
True, true. I mean, he's exactly right. The thing is that Venezuela and Trinidad, who used to be part of the same country and then were divided because of colonial power, Spain and England, and now they are independent, and but we still should have like some sort of Caribbean unity, and that's why CARICOM is for. So, would it be possible that the Caribbean has a new defense system so that Venezuela uses its Russian equipment and Trinidad and Tobago uses their American equipment, and we have our own Caribbean sphere of influence
Hmm.
uh, with support of CARICOM and AlBA and SELAC? Would that be possible? Of course, United States is not going to want that Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela get along.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's really interesting to see how things will pan out when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago, Trinidad and Venezuela. Do you think that the gas deal, the Dragon gas deal? Now, I heard yesterday Minister Sobers in Trinidad said the gas deal is still on. Do you think? Yeah, he said that. He said that the gas
Who
deal,
said that?
Minister Sobers in Trinidad, he said that with all the tensions that is going on between Venezuela and, well, I mean, we cannot say America, only Venezuela and America. No, Trinidad is in the whole middle of all of this. He said with all the tension that is going on, the gas deal is still on.
Well, because if there is a regime change, I mean, look exactly where was the ship seized? It was exactly at the water surrounding Dragon,
Mm,
because the ship was seized between Grenada and Trinidad. And I think in the earlier show we had, I told you that Dragon gas is exactly between Grenada, Trinidad, and Venezuela.
yeah.
I mean, exactly. That particular spot of the planet is sought by them, and if they are trying to see how they control that territory so that eventually they take it away from Venezuela and start exploiting it,
Mhm.
just as has happened with Essequibo and Trinidad. I mean,
So,
it's
so do you? So,
unfortunate.
are you saying that he's only saying this because maybe he thinks that, I don't know. Maybe we're just speculating, right? This is just speculation. He's saying this because he strongly believes that the Americans will come in and control the gas and they will benefit.
I mean, but that's piracy. That's not American. That's Venezuelan.
Yeah, no,
You
exactly.
know,
It
and
is
the thing is
piracy.
that we need to protect our resources. And AlBA was founded so that, I mean, I understand that there are oil and gas in Barbados,
Yeah,
Grenada,
yeah.
Cuba, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Jamaica, all of the Caribbean countries
No, stick a pin right
have.
there. I just want to respond to this. This comment says the Grenadian is a traitor to his people. Well, I believe this person is talking about the Prime Minister. He promised to address his people concerning American radar, but he never did. Now we are seeing he's on board with Americans. Wake up, Grenadian people. Well, yeah. We I cannot say for certain he's on board with the Americans, but we are seeing signs that something fishy is going on. Because just recently we got, well, this week, not Pete Hexet, there was a report that Pete Hexet was on the island, but the news outlet here in Grenada got it wrong. You know, they got the name wrong. It was Patrick Weaver that came in last Wednesday. I think that was the 10th of December. He came in secretly. I would say secretly because we didn't know until it was publicized. Um, and he came to have a high level meeting, high level talks with the Commissioner of Police, the Foreign Affairs Minister, and other governmental officials. And I did a video about that, and my criticism was when it comes to our prime minister. I think there is a lot of deception that is taking place here when it comes to the whole radar request in Grenada, because our prime minister said that Grenada has no military. All right, Grenada has no military. The only cooperation that we have with the United States of America is when it comes to law enforcement. So if we do not have any military, the impression that I got, probably I'm wrong, but the impression that I got when he said that is that whatever military endeavors that the Americans have in the Caribbean, especially when it comes to you guys, Venezuela, and installing radars, using the islands as a launch pad against you guys, that it is not applicable to Grenada because we do not have a military. But why are we, I mean, I'm not against these people coming into the island, but what business does this people have with us, because these are military officials. What business does Grenada have with these high profile people when it comes to military stuff? So I see there are discrepancies, and it calls for question. And I understand that person's comment when that person is saying the Grenadian is a traitor, which is the prime minister. I mean, I will not go as far to say that. It's strong words, but you know, there's a lot of questions that I think Grenadians need to start asking. We need to start asking, because it's funny enough that in a time like this, we have a bunch of military personnel coming on Point Saline or Maurice Bishop Airport, I believe, training people for medical when it comes to medical skills. And when the military guy was interviewed, he said, "We are doing this in case something bad happens." So you got to read between the lines when people say certain things. And I understand the frustration of the Grenadian people, but as I'm saying all this to say, my dear brother, you talk about Grenada and what is going on with the radar here. We are still waiting for a definite answer. Go ahead.
Well, and I would like to add to Evelyn that this show we're having, Grenadian Ambassador and me today,
Mhm.
happened because at noon I was concerned that I had not read anything of the radar. And in Venezuela, everybody is extremely concerned about the Grenada radar because that is extremely close to our territory. Grenada is very close to Los Testigos Islands, which are actually a tourism destination to people who go to Margarita Island.
No,
They go to Los
no,
Frailes and then to Los Testigos.
no. What some people don't understand. Grenada is very important when it comes to the endeavors or the military endeavors of the United States. all we are in a strategic location when it comes to you guys in Venezuela, because after Trinidad, Grenada is the closest island to Venezuela, closest island, small island going up north. We are just about some, if I'm correct, we're just about 100 miles or 160 miles, approximately 100 to 160 miles away from Venezuela.
Well,
So
look at
you know,
Los Testigos.
yeah,
You have Margarita Island, which is a main tourism destination for Venezuelans, Iranians, Russians, Polish, Argentinians. A lot of people from all over the world visit Margarita. And then from Margarita, you can take a day trip to Los Frailes and then Los Testigos. And between Los Testigos and Grenada, there is the international maritime border.
yeah.
So actually, it could be possible to go by boat between Margarita and Grenada, just having stopovers in Los Frailes and Los Testigos.
Yeah. Somebody
And that
says
could be a
Canadian.
great tourism destination, but then if you do that, you will be shot by United States military.
Of course. Somebody said Grenadians used to go to Venezuela to shop. Oh yes, I remember those days. These was
Yeah.
wonderful days.
Yeah.
you know,
Venezuelans
wonderful
should
days.
go to Grenada to learn English because I
Yeah.
am concerned that like these geopolitics things have made me think a lot. I see that problems of China, of African countries, of Europe, you have like people from those countries who know English because, of course, Spanish is an important language, but it's not the world language. It's like the second or third world language. And so there should be many people like me living in Venezuela speaking in English to the international community, but there are not. The people who speak English, who are Venezuelans, are usually the ones who live abroad and they are sold on this regime change thing. So I might be one of the few voices in English that is saying, the Venezuelan sovereignty thing, but I think I am representing a lot of Venezuelans who only speak Spanish. But, more Venezuelans should learn English, and maybe Grenada should have English schools for Venezuelans and Colombians and whoever else.
Well
That could be
said.
a business opportunity for Grenada and other Caribbean islands.
Yeah. Well said.
Barbados has done it very well before.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Time. I mean, it was a wonderful conversation, but I always am disciplined in keeping these lives for 1 hour, and time is already again. Time is up, and I mean, we have to in times like these now. These are serious times, and we have to be. The message is, be prepared. Be prepared mentally, be prepared spiritually, be prepared psychologically. I mean, be prepared financially. We just have to be prepared for anything. But we do hope that with all what is going on, nothing will happen. Peace will reign. That is what we want. We want peace here in the Caribbean. That is what we have known. We have known peace for a very long time. I mean, Venezuela is part of the Caribbean as well. We want peace. So I will leave the last words to you, my dear brother, and you go ahead.
I have a last comment before we close. I would like to ask Grenadians to think about your oil and gas industry. I understand there are significant developments,
Mm.
and I believe Grenada should be Venezuela's partner for Dragon gas and link it to whatever gas field is close by in Grenada waters.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the oil and gas strategy of the Grenada government. I don't know if they want to do as Guyana has done, that they just gave everything to ExxonMobil for a very small fee. I don't know if that's working out for them. I increasingly hear from people in Guyana that they think they deserve better terms. And I invite Grenadians to think of their oil and gas strategy and if they would like to partner with Venezuela or with Western countries or multinationals, or what would be the future of Grenadian industry.
Yes. So to recap today's topic, I was receiving information that certain countries, including Grenada, was expelled from AlBA, but this is not true. All right. The only country that is expelled, let me reiterate, and I will emphasize on it. The only country that is expelled right now is Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Yeah, Bolivia. All right. This is the only country. Now, AlBA, those of you who do not, I just want to summarize for those who are just joining. AlBA is an organization. It basically means Bolivian alliances for the peoples of America. Okay, it was founded by, let's say, Venezuela and Cuba, and then over a period of time, other nations started to join in, and it was an alternative, and it is an alternative in free trade among Latin American nations and the Caribbean. Now, I also learned that it was intended for free trade among between Venezuela and the United States. That was its first intention.
No, United States. I don't think so. AlBA? No
Yeah, that.
way.
Oh, so you see, so this is clarification. This is not
No,
true.
no, no.
This
I
is
will
not true.
repeat the countries of AlBA.
Yeah.
On the English-speaking side, you have St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua
Mhm.
and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And
Yeah.
on the Spanish-speaking side, you have Nicaragua, Cuba, and Venezuela, and Bolivia is no longer in AlBA.
Okay. Right. So, guys, you got clarification. And thank you, all of you who have joined us. Thank you, my dear brother. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.